When Ethan pulled into the driveway, the afternoon sun was still bright across the neighborhood, casting long shadows of trees he planted years ago. He wasn't supposed to be home. His business trip out of state was scheduled to last another 3 days, but he finished early, mostly because he missed his daughter, Lily. The idea of surprising her made him smile the entire drive home. He imagined her little arms tightening around his neck, her excited squeal filling the air like music. Ethan reached into the backseat, grabbed his suitcase, and walked toward the house. But before he even reached the front door, something felt wrong. There were cars parked up the street, fancy ones, decorated with pink ribbons and white bows. And then he heard it. Music. Wedding music. His heartbeat stumbled. He stepped around the side of the house, drawn by curiosity and dread. The backyard balloons, the arch of roses, the rows of white chairs, it all made sense too quickly. In the center of the scene, dressed in a white gown that looked as expensive as it was glamorous, stood Hannah, his ex-wife. And beside her, a tall man in a tailored suit held her hand like he owned the world. Ethan felt like the ground had disappeared beneath him. He had been married to Hannah for 6 years before it all fell apart. She had said she wanted more, something exciting, something grander than their ordinary life. She chased a man who had money, connections, and the charm of someone who had never known hardship. She left Ethan with their daughter, assuring him she would always be a part of Lily's life. But this was a wedding. In their backyard, the same yard where Ethan celebrated Lily's first birthday. The same place where they planted a tree together as a family. And no one had told him a thing. He searched for Lily, panic growing. Then he saw her, wearing a white flower girl dress, standing stiffly beside her mother. Her eyes weren't bright or joyful. They were lost. Ethan couldn't stay silent. He pushed through the small gathering of guests. People turned, gasped, whispered. Hannah's eyes widened when she saw him. "What are you doing here?" She hissed through a forced smile. Her fiancé turned with a look of irritation. "I live here," Ethan shot back. "Where is Lily? Why didn't you tell me about this?" Hannah waved her hand dismissively. "You were supposed to be out of town. And Lily is with me today, it was all arranged." "No," Ethan said firmly. "Our custody agreement says I'm always informed of major decisions and events involving our daughter." "A wedding? That's a major event." Lily ran toward him then, her tiny shoes tapping loudly on the stone pavement. She wrapped her arms around him and finally, the world made sense again. Ethan lifted her up, holding her close as she whispered into his ear, "Daddy, I didn't want this." "He wants me to call him Dad." A cold wave surged through Ethan's chest. He looked up at Hannah, anger simmering. "You don't get to replace me," he said quietly, but the steel in his voice carried through the yard. "I am her father." Hannah's new groom stepped forward. "Look, man, Hannah and I discussed this. You're clearly struggling. A single dad, raising a child alone. She deserves to be raised by someone who can afford a better life." Ethan set Lily down gently and stepped closer to the man who thought money defined parenthood. "You think being a dad is about your bank account?" Ethan asked. "It's about showing up, every day. It's about staying when things are hard. You don't buy fatherhood, you earn it." The guests had gone completely silent. The music had stopped. Hannah looked furious. "You're ruining my wedding," she snapped. "No," Ethan said, shaking his head slowly. "You ruined this moment the day you decided to do it in my home. The home where Lily lives. Where her memories live." Hannah opened her mouth to retort, but her fiancé stepped in, grabbing Ethan's arm. "You need to leave, now." The touch ignited something in Ethan he hadn't felt in a long time. He pulled his arm back with a force that made the man stumble. "Don't ever put your hands on me," Ethan warned. "And don't think you're stepping into my daughter's life like you own it. That is something you will never have permission for." A guest, Hannah's aunt, who always adored Ethan, stood up from her seat. "Hannah, what were you thinking?" she whispered, horrified. "You should have told him. This is wrong." More murmurs followed. People shifted uncomfortably. Some even glared at the bride. Hannah's face flushed with embarrassment, but instead of remorse, she lashed out. "Oh please," she sneered. "You think Ethan is some hero? He works all the time. He's boring. I needed a life where I could breathe." Ethan didn't flinch. He already knew what she thought of him. But now everyone else did too. The groom tried to recover the situation. "Let's just continue the ceremony inside," he suggested loudly. "No," Lily suddenly said, her small voice trembling but audible. Everyone turned toward her. "I don't want a new dad," she cried. I only want Daddy. Ethan knelt and hugged her tighter than ever. And then, something unexpected happened. Guests started collecting their belongings. Chairs scraped against the stone as people walked out. Some shook Ethan's hand as they passed, offering small whispers of support. In a matter of minutes, the wedding crowd had thinned drastically. Hannah stood frozen in place, her perfect day crumbling beneath her. Her fiancé gritted his teeth. This isn't worth it, he muttered, removing his ring and slamming it onto the table before storming out of the yard. A gasp rippled through the remaining guests. Hannah's eyes widened with disbelief. She was alone. Again, Ethan lifted Lily into his arms and turned toward the house. Wait, Hannah called, voice cracking. Ethan, please. He paused only for a moment. You walked away from our family once, he said softly. But you don't get to tear apart what's left of it. Without another look back, he carried Lily inside. Once the door closed behind them, Lily clung to him like he was the only safe thing in the world. He kissed her forehead. I'm here, he promised. I'll always be here. And for the first time since she was born, Ethan realized something important. He wasn't just a single dad. He was her home.